You are Locked On Dodgers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, hello and welcome back. It's been a few days since we've been here. I am Pete Fox. Thanks for joining me. This is the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. The place to hang out when every game is done. We come on right after the game and break it down for you, give you all the information that you care to chew on. Win or lose, just about every game we're here. I wasn't there over the weekend, but there was reasons for that. Football season underway, had a family issue I had to deal with, and more than anything, I was trying to break a superstition, a curse that I thought I was creating. And it seemed to work. Dodgers sweep the Pirates over the weekend. We'll get into that a little bit since I wasn't on over the weekend talking about it. But today, a fantastic win for the Dodgers in Milwaukee at the baseball park, formerly known as Miller Park. Now it's named after some insurance company, Family Life or Family Trust or First Family or something like that. I actually have a buddy who's there tonight. And he put up some Instagram photos. He's a Milwaukee guy. His wife's from LA. So he's a Wisconsin guy, I should say. He's a Youper from the UP. So it was kind of cool to see some of his pictures from behind home plate, watching the game as the Dodgers post a 5-2 win in Milwaukee over the Brewers. That was one of the more complete wins that I've seen in a while. Now, again, the series over the weekend against the Pittsburgh Pirates was also very nice. There were some complete wins there. Friday was comfortable. Saturday was fairly comfortable. Sunday was not, but a win nonetheless in 10 innings. And tonight, really, I felt like there wasn't too much of a worry, a stress that this one was going to go south. Even in spite of the premature yanking of Clayton Kershaw on just 80-some pitches, definitely could have finished that frame, and we wouldn't have had any scoring probably because Joe Kelly came in and gave up a couple on a home run, but got out of it, so we'll give him credit for that. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel is brought to you by SupplyHouse.com. It's the reliable way to get parts fast. Shop for your next plumbing, HVAC, or electrical job and get fast shipping from coast to coast at SupplyHouse.com. I, of course, am Pete Fox, covering sports in LA, dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. And we're here after every game to tell you what happened and how we feel about it. So you can join in on the comments. I feel like tonight everyone's going to feel great about Clayton Kershaw's performance. I know I do. I felt like the fact that he had command like we haven't seen in a while, even in his first outing at Dodger Stadium, which was good. This was much, much better. He had control. He was hitting spots. The breaking ball was fairly vicious. The 12-6 was kind of making the Brewers look stupid at times. The slider was his number one go-to, but the curveball, I think, was what was causing them the most problem. The slider was also very good, and then he was dotting the fastball as well, hitting corners, edges, etc. 5 2/3, 1 run on 3 hits, striking out 6. The 6 strikeouts came on a 4-seam, slider, curveball, slider. So he mixed it up nicely and was throwing over 70% strikes. That is fantastic. They reported that the league average is somewhere around 50%. So Clayton Kershaw had it working tonight, and there was absolutely no reason to pull him out. I'm sorry. The Dave Roberts and Andrew Friedman analytics failed them there. Clayton Kershaw on a strikeout, strikes out the batter right before he gets pulled. Don't understand it. Never will. Going to continue to say it makes no sense when they pull people in the middle of a frame when they are rolling along. And I know most of you guys agree with that. It just didn't make any sense. And then Joe Kelly, I don't know that Joe Kelly is necessarily the guy that you bring in the middle of a frame. He has given up 8 runs, or he's inherited 14 runners and given up 8 of those 14. That is more than 50%. Joe Kelly is not very good when it comes to inherited runners. Bring in somebody else. Vesia had it working tonight, struck out the side, was just grooving fastballs. Man, that guy, to me, when he's got that fastball, it's just flat and pinpoint accurate. It looked so nice. But the thing that was the greatest part of this game to me was Clayton Kershaw's dominance. The fact that we got Mookie back, that was great. And Mookie home run, what was it, second inning, 2-run homer. That was fantastic. So Mookie's right back in there, right up to speed. We've been saying for what seems like months, but it's really only been a month or 6 weeks, that once Mookie gets back, everything's going to be fine. So far, so good with regard to that. But that felt good. And for whatever reason, I kind of liked the lineup. I didn't necessarily have a problem with him being in right field. I feel like I was a little surprised by it because they kept telling us over and over and over, Mookie's our shortstop. Mookie's our shortstop. We're not going away from Mookie at shortstop. We're going to ride this out. And first game back after being injured on the IL, he goes to right field. But quite honestly, that's a nice place for him because Shohei hasn't been great. And really the only time they get any production out of right field is when it's Teo in right field. So I don't have a big problem with that. I feel like I like this lineup. The way it stands, I don't feel like Mookie needs to be the leadoff guy. Batting second is fine. Let's keep Shohei in the leadoff spot, even though he's continuing to struggle. 7 of 51 coming into this game, which is an average right around 130, 134, I believe, in that neighborhood. 7 of his last 51. Of course, tonight had a hit and a home run. Cranks that average up a little bit more. Let's say 7 for 52 is 135. So his average over the last 50 plus at bats has not been good, but I think it's one of those situations where the flash that Shohei brings, the power that he brings, everyone's fine with that. No one has a problem with his average over the last 50 plus at bats being around 130. His overall batting average dropped below 300, now at 298. So he's definitely in a funk, as is Will Smith. But I feel confident that these guys will get out of it. Teo continues to produce, didn't do much tonight. Freddie had an off night as well. So it was nice to see Mookie back in there at the top of the lineup, taking care of business. Gavin Lux 0 for tonight in his home state, not far from where he grew up in Kenosha. I lived in that area for 1 year and spent a good deal of time in Kenosha, the Brat Stop. Fun little area there. I have a friend that lives there still. And I think I enjoyed spending time there a little bit more than Chicago when I lived there. I now know better. It was so funny. The time I spent in Chicago, land area, as my friends like to say, I spent more time in Wisconsin than in the Windy City. Really, as far as my experience in Chicago, it was just going to Wrigley. That was it. I just went to Wrigley, which is great. But Kenosha is a cool city where Gavin Lux is from. And I don't know if there was just, too much of that local hometown pressure on him tonight, but he was 0 for and a couple of Ks in the night. So all in all, a couple of unfortunate downers, but this game had really very little threat of losing. And I think that's all based on the way Kershaw performed. So that's, I think, why I was a little frustrated when they yanked him, because he was just cruising. There's no reason to pull him at that point on 80 some pitches, right? He could have got out of that inning. Then you let the other guy come in. And I feel like anybody is better when they come in at the start of a frame. This game was won almost single-handedly by Clayton Kershaw, because his dominance over the Milwaukee Brewers tonight was very, very remarkable, strong, reminiscent of Clayton Kershaw from the days of yore. 5-2 the final. The Dodgers have now won 4 in a row and surpassed the Philadelphia Phillies for the best record in the National League. Their 70th win versus 49 losses. 32-27 on the road. I'm Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers postcast. Back at it after a weekend off covering football. So happy to be here with you guys, breaking it down. Again, a 5-2 win. You can follow us on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. You can like and subscribe and whatever it is you do there, or listen wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. That's also where you find Jeff and Vince doing the daily Dodgers podcast, which they will be probably doing shortly here after I'm done tonight. All right, tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast brought to you by Supply House. Get supplies from the site that's made for skilled trades, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy to use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered to your door with fast shipping coast to coast. I know with our rental properties, I could not survive without websites like Amazon sending me products that I need. So if you are an HVAC guy or an electrical guy or a plumber and you need the products to do the job shipped right to your house, so you don't have to make an extra trip down to the local whatever, Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware, this has got to make your life so much more easy and efficient. And if you need help with an order, get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time, which is key. Pros and skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Masters program. Every trade master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com. TM. And order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks. That's supplyhouse.com/TM for your Trade Masters program and for the entire website to get your product shipped to your home. Supplyhouse.com is where you go. All right, Dodgers extend their winning streak to 4 in a row with a 5-2 win. Clayton Kershaw's first win for the season, coming off the IL after the shoulder surgery. Again, 5 2/3 would have been nice to get him 6, but this was the first time he even worked into the 6th. So that was a win as well. Again, 83 pitches. The ERA now 3.5. Joe Kelly came in to get that last out, but gave up a home run and 2 runs, one of which was charged to Kersh. Then Vesia came in, struck out the side, looked really dominant, 14 pitches. The ERA now 1.79, and his ERA over the last, where's that number? I wrote it down. Vesia, no, that's Hudson. Hudson got the save, went 1 inning, 10 pitches, his ERA at 2.02, but dating back to May, his ERA is 1.36. So he's been very good. And we've talked a lot here about who's the closer. Who do we feel confident about? Who do we give the ball to as the closer? I believe there needs to be a regular guy who knows that this is his job. That is his position. That is his role from the bullpen. I do not believe that the idea of rotating guys, who do we feel good about here? Let's look at all the matchups and the analytics and all that garbage. Then decide who's going to pitch. Oh, tonight, let's throw Evan Williams in there. Tonight, let's throw Daniel Hudson. Oh, let's get Vesia or Bonda. You know, it's like rotating closers. That is not going to work. You got to find some guy. And unless he's absolute trash, absolute garbage, he is your guy. Let him get the confidence of that position. Daniel Hudson has been a closer now. He's old, but he knows how to handle this role. And I love Kopech as the setup guy because he's just throwing gas tonight at 100. I know Joe Kelly had 100 a couple of times as well, but Joe Kelly's stuff didn't have the kind of pop that we've seen from him in the past. His slider was not crazy, not wicked. It was right over the on the ones that got hit. It was right over the strike zone. Some of them were okay. So I don't know exactly what's going on with him, but I don't feel like he comes in and displays the dominance that we've seen from him lately. But tonight, this bullpen rotation, save Joe Kelly, was really good. Nice to see. Vesia, 14 pitches. Kopech, 19 pitches. He did walk one guy, but struck out two, and Daniel Hudson, an easy, clean, stress-free ninth inning to really produce a stress-free win for the Dodgers. 5-2, probably should have been 5-0 if it weren't for the home run from Joe Kelly due to the premature yank of Clayton Kershaw, but Hudson just 10 pitches and has really been dominant. As far as the offense on the Diamond Dogs list tonight, let's get to that and break it down and hand out some stars in this 5-2 win. Kike Hernandez, who led off with an infield hit in the third. That was nice to see. He continues to hit since seeing the optometrist and getting glasses to deal with astigmatism in his eye. I always find that amazing that something like, oh, glasses will help me see the ball better. Wow. What a concept that he could go through playing professional baseball when people are throwing a small round object at him at 90 to 100 miles an hour, and he's not seeing it right. And more than anything, he wasn't seeing the spin and break of the ball. And if you don't see that, it's got to be nearly impossible to hit. So some of the hits that he got early in the season before getting the glasses, remarkable, amazing. But since then, he's just been, really good, quality, starting level hitting. And, I criticized him multiple times for not feeling like he's a guy that should be starting or doesn't have the at bats and the ability to be a starter. But he's been very, very good since he got these glasses, even though his average on the season is still at 215 over the last month and a half. It's like 260, I believe, in that neighborhood. He's been really, really good. And again, tonight with a hit and a run scored. So good to see that Kike is continuing to roll. When they get Max Muncy back, it'll be nice to have them rotate potentially righty lefty, something like that. Maybe, I don't know. But as long as Kike keeps producing, he's a very good fielder. And with the better vision, I would think that the second that couldn't see the ball, I would say to somebody, maybe not the manager, maybe the trainer or somebody, hey, I'm having a problem seeing the spin on the ball. My vision is a tad bit blurry in my left eye, right? I don't know. Just an idea. Mention it, right? Oh, really? Well, guess what? We can take care of that. Whether it's LASIK or glasses or something, there are answers. But it took him a while to get there, and we're just happy that he is finally there with the glasses, the specs. For number 4 on the Diamond Dogs list, Mookie, the 2-run homer, his first home run since June 6th. It went 375 feet. It came on a 2-1 fastball. For number 3, Kiermaier, a leadoff single in the 5th, only his second hit as a Dodger. Kiermaier's nickname is the Sacrificer. He's had 7 sacrifices, including 1 tonight. I could also call Kevin Kiermaier the question mark. Like, why is he on this team? Why did they acquire a guy that's old and is getting ready to retire and has a batting average well below 200? 190. I don't get it. I know he's a veteran and I know he's a good defender. I don't get it. Call it a question mark. Call me a head scratcher on that move. For number 2, Shohei, an opposite field jack that was one of those ones that was a no doubter for him, because the second he hit it, he just stood there and watched it. Not in a cocky way, just kind of watched it float, because that's what it did. Is 36th of the year. It made it 4-0. It went 425 feet. As for number 1, that goes to Mookie Betts. Nice to see him back on the field. Very comforting. Couple of hits tonight in his return. The last one was an RBI single to right in the 7th. It was a 9-pitch at bat, and I love that grind, that grit, that battle, fouling off balls. It came on a 2-2 cutter, and it was the insurance that made it 5-2. The final score of the game here. Win number 70 for the Dodgers, which puts them a half game ahead of the Philadelphia Phillies for the best record in the National League. Jesus says, hey, Pete, I was looking forward to the Skeens versus Dodgers postcast last Saturday. I was too, Jesus, because they won, and I did not think that was going to happen. I was doing the Charger game that night, And I'll be honest with you, baseball fans, I am not a huge fan of preseason football, but it's my job. It's what I was told to do. So I went and did it. And it was a groaner. There wasn't a whole lot of anything going on in that game. The highlight of that Chargers game, which they lost like 16-3 to the Seattle Seahawks, was a 58-yard field goal from Cameron Dicker the kicker. Yeah, preseason football is for the families of those players, the coaches and those players, and the hardcore fans that don't care about any other sport. And this is their opportunity to go see a game that maybe they wouldn't be able to make it to during the regular season. So I am none of those things. I'm a big time football fan, but I also like other sports. I kind of follow the seasons, if you will. So I'm in baseball mode right now. Football is still a couple of weeks away for me, but got to cover the preseason games. So Jesus, I apologize, but I looked at it this way. I feel like the fact that I wasn't covering those games somehow cosmically worked out to the Dodgers' benefit, and that's why they won that series and swept them. But yeah, that was a dominant performance over Skeens. We can break that down just a little bit here after the break, because I know they had a mess of home runs in that game, and I loved watching the box score as I was watching the Charger game. This is the Locked On Dodgers postcast right now on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. We come on right after the game and break it down. You can also listen wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. Locked On is your source for your team every day. So thank you for joining us here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers postcast is brought to you by Ibotta. From sandals to sunscreen, snacks for the kids, what do these things have in common? You'll probably be buying a ton of them during the summer, even though the summer is winding down. I know some people, my daughter went back to school today, but that's not the deal for everybody. Sometimes it's later in the month of August. Sometimes it's even into summer. So if you're trying to get some last minute summer activity in and you still need some of these things, I've been trying to get the boat out to the lake for 3 weeks now. So even though she's back to school, we're still going to go out and do summer things as soon as I get the truck out of the shop. But anyway, don't stress about the cost of all these things you need for your last minute summer activity as you're winding down. Use Ibotta and get cash back on all your purchases when you stock up on these things all summer long. Ibotta is a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop. Earn on hundreds of items from groceries to beauty supplies, even toys, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user earns $250 per year, $256 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, maybe a flight to see a family member, or just maybe some frivolous thing that you don't necessarily need, but you really, really want. I have those all the time. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play and download the free Ibotta app to start earning today. That's Ibotta at Google Play or at the App Store. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB. Ibotta, IBOTTA. Check them out. Also, tonight's show brought to you by the fine folks at FanDuel. I love sports, and I love them so much that I never really want them to stop. And that's what's great about this job here at Locked On. They don't really ever stop for me. But as the baseball season is heading towards the playoffs and the Olympics have come to an end, the football season is starting up. Usually right before this time of year, we're getting fewer games, but now we've got a lot of games. So you can decide to make sports whatever you want them to be at this point. You want to be a football guy, you want to be a baseball guy. I believe the US Open tennis is right around the corner. But FanDuel lets you take sporting to whatever level you want. All you have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There something for everyone at FanDuel every day, all summer long, heading towards the fall and football season. So head over to FanDuel, start making the most of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. All right, Dodgers with a 5-2 win over the Brewers in Milwaukee, and it was nice to see. It was a confident, dominant win, thanks in large part to Clayton Kershaw. It was a complete win because of the offense, 2 home runs. That was nice to see. Mookie Betts returning with a home run and an RBI single, also really good because, my feeling was that when Mookie returned, when Max Muncy returns, it was going to take a handful of games to kind of get back up to speed. But didn't go that way for Freddie because he came right back. No rehab assignment for him. Granted, he missed fewer games than Mookie did. But Mookie also no rehab assignment, just right back in there, and that's nice to see that they can jump right back into the lineup and pick up pretty much right where they left off. So that was cool. And I love that Mookie Betts got in there, played right field, didn't seem to have any issue with that. And he even commented, this is what's great about Mookie. He brings a lot of things to the table as a player and as a leader. He's like, look, I get it. I'm not offended. When you've got guys like Nick Ahmed and Miggy Rojas at shortstop, why do you need me over there? And Miggy Rojas has been hitting the ball. Nick Ahmed, not so much, but Nick Ahmed's probably more of a defensive specialist for the Dodgers than Miguel Rojas, but Miggy's also very good. I don't know. I think it'd be a tough call to say which of those two guys is a better defender. They're both very, very good. So Mookie's like, yeah, it makes sense to me. I'll play out here in right field. I know a lot of people have criticized and complained that Mookie at shortstop was bad for the Dodgers. I don't necessarily agree, but maybe I was just, drinking the sauce because and they told us all year long that Mookie was playing shortstop. That's it. Mookie's the shortstop. We're not going away from that. So the fact that they moved him out to right field, there hasn't been a ton of production from right field. Whoever's out there really has not been a big part of the Dodger offense and usually bats 8 or 9, whether it's James Outman, whether it's Shohei. Sometimes they'll put Teo over there and then it's okay. But ultimately, it just hasn't been great. Pajes doesn't play there too much. He usually plays center. And as much as I'm not a huge Pajes fan because he's young and he's still trying to learn and figure out the game and become more efficient, he is a better hitter than Kiermaier. So I think they're kind of relying on the defensive aspect because Pajes has had some shortcomings defensively. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe that's the answer to my question about the question mark surrounding why Kevin Kiermaier is on this team. Now back to this Dodger win that Jesus was asking about on Saturday night against, was it Saturday or what was the Skeens game? I thought Skeens was Saturday. According to what I'm looking at here, it was not Saturday. That was the Flaherty game. Yeah, that was another great part of that series over the weekend. Flaherty, oh yeah, Saturday was 4-1. On Friday, Flaherty struck out 10. Oh my God, I loved seeing that. 9-5 the final there. That was the game with all the home runs. Saturday, Gavin Lux with 3 RBI, continuing to square it up, make good contact, put the ball in play, get base hits. The average at 245. So he's got it rolling. In spite of an 0 for tonight, I'm not going to give him too much of a beat down on that. A lot of times when you go back to your home area for a series, it's hard to get rolling, right? You're distracted. You got friends in the stands. There's a lot going on. But the fact that he's just been so good of late, let's give him a little leeway. He's not going to get, 2 or 3 hits and 3 RBI every night. But River Ryan went 4 2/3, gave up no runs on 4 hits, but left after an injury. I haven't heard exactly what came of that, so I have to dig around and find out there. If you guys have an update, please share. But the fact that the Dodgers roughed up Skeens for 4 runs on 6 hits, in spite of him striking out 8, that is a confident building win and a confident building performance for them rather, against a guy that is an all-star and has just been mowing people down. Of course, he started the All-Star game, so he brings a lot to the table. So not only did the win mean a lot, but I think it meant a lot for their psyche, for their confidence, that they were able to rough up a guy like that. And that's nice to see when the offense has really been struggling prior to this series. So good win there. And then, of course, the game on Sunday, they won in 10 innings. Teo Hernandez, a walk-off. That was fantastic. So everything about this little stretch right now is perfect. Just about perfect. It is definitely something that enacts pleasure, smiles, lack of stress. There is times when this team plays like crap and it just affects me personally. So I love it when they win. And more than anything, I love it when the Dodgers win in a confident way, dominating their opponent and not really giving them any oxygen to breathe. And that's kind of what we saw today and what we saw over the weekend against the Pirates as well. They took that series and they are rolling it into the momentum here on the road, which they need, with this win now. Prior to this game, they came in here winning only 12. Losing 12 of their last 17. So now it's 12 of their last 18. So their struggles on the road are obvious. We are aware of them. I have beaten that up, complained excessively about their lack of success on the road. So the fact that they were able to sweep that series in Pittsburgh and take that momentum right out on the road without a day off is a good thing. Kershaw came out a very nice performance, looked as good as we've seen him look in a long time. Command of the fastball, command of the curveball. The slider was good, striking people out 6 over 5 2/3. 2 innings that were sub 10 pitches, 7 in the first, 8 in the fourth. It was really his first win of the series. Was really just nice to see, and hopefully, fingers crossed, he can keep that rolling as we head towards the postseason and they really try to gain momentum, widen that lead in the West. The Padres lost yesterday, snapping a 7-game winning streak. They're scoreless with the Pirates right now. As for the Diamondbacks, they're continuing to roll. Let's see where they are right at this point, because the Dodgers are 3 up on them. The Diamondbacks down 4-1 to the Rockies right now. So that would be nice if both the Padres and the Diamondbacks were to lose tonight to give the Dodgers a full game lead. So yeah, they're 4 up now on both of them. With a Diamondbacks and Padres loss, would be 4.5. So that would be a nice addition to the distance from the top of the National League West. So we go back at it tomorrow. Game 2 of this series in Milwaukee as they take on the Brewers once again. Gavin Stone will start for the Boys in Blue. Start time a little after 5, just like it was tonight. Thank you for joining me here. Thanks for the comments. I'm Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. And you can also listen to us on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. That's where you find Jeff and Vince doing the daily podcast, breaking it down here in just a little bit as well. And we thank you all, the everydayers, for making us your source for your team every day. I'm Pete Fox. We will talk again tomorrow. Have a good night.